What's going on, everyone? It's Jacob
And Hannah.
back here with another episode of Commerce Connects. Today, we have someone that you've probably seen their content. His name is Cole. He's with How About Those Chiefs. He's a YouTuber. Cole, how did you get into creating content about the Chiefs?
First off, thanks so much for having me. I don't get asked to do a lot of non-football, non-NFL specific podcasts, so this was fun. Hannah was like, "Hey, you want to hop on here?" And I was like, "Hey, this will be fun." I don't know where the conversation will go, but I'm honored to be on the show. And then Hannah, I just want you to know,
He's brought it.
don't judge the color.
Okay.
But I
Let's
found
go.
a basketball. I told Hannah, because she's like a boss, right? A baller. I said, I suck at basketball. Like my ancestors, they didn't help me out. Okay. Don't have that in my DNA. But for whatever reason, I could spin a ball for like a long time. And I used to do it as a kid. And so this is my daughter's basketball. Haven't spun it. And I don't, it's not like I just walk around spinning balls, but I did want to show you.
Oh,
Okay.
I did want to show you. You just put it on the fingernail
Oh,
and then you get it.
he's got the science
So-
down.
we need to make a video. Why haven't we done this before?
I can't do like what you can of like
Go around the back.
moving my arm behind my back and doing all that, but I could spin that for however long.
Let's go.
Hidden talent.
Man.
Hidden talent exposed.
I
Had
love
to let
it.
you know that I could spin a ball. That's it. That's all I got though. Can't shoot, can't dribble, none of that. To answer your question though, I started making Chiefs content in January of 2022. It was the morning of the Chiefs and Bills divisional game. It was the 13-second game.
Great game.
The story is like way longer than that, but I wanted to start a YouTube channel for quite a while. I dabbled with a couple different YouTube channels, used to make music, hip hop music. And then I used to stream like Call of Duty on Twitch. And so I would make like mashup videos and voiceover videos and put them on YouTube. I love the YouTube ecosystem, the platform itself. I learned like everything that I could think of off of YouTube. I don't read. I mean, I can read, but I don't read. So audio and video is how I learn. So learned photography, videography, anything to do with like music tutorials on how to edit and all that stuff. I learned it on YouTube, and I consume most of my news on YouTube. So I just love the platform. I was like, man, I would just love to be able to do something on YouTube for a living. We had it narrowed down to video game news and Chiefs news. My wife was like, look, you love the Chiefs. You're a lifelong Chiefs fan. Do Chiefs news. And I was like, all right. And I didn't know that it would blow up at all. I had no idea. I thought maybe 50 views, 100 views. And so that's how I started. Just love the platform, the ecosystem. And YouTube has since changed my life. Even though it was a huge part of my life before, it's now my life now.
Yeah. So are you full-time into like the YouTube space now?
Yes, sir. I quit my day job 9 or 10 months after starting the YouTube channel.
Man.
Wow.
And it's because when I worked full time, I would wake up at 3:50 in the morning and work on Chiefs content from 4 to 9.
Yeah.
And then I would go work a full-time job, and
Ooh.
I'm married and have kids. So I was falling asleep at like 8:30 p.m., just exhausted. I was dealing with anxiety. Like I had like anxiety fits, not like panic attacks, but like I was just overworked like to the max. And so I did make the decision before the 2022 NFL football season to quit my day job. And that was a big leap because I was salary position, full benefits, all that, made the leap. And then about 3 months into YouTube, I made my salary from my day job, my yearly salary. And I was like, okay, this is what? This is wild. And I'll keep it short, but when you're self-employed, like the taxes we pay now, the insurance that we have to pay for our family, like all that, like, I don't know that I'm really making more by the end of the day once I pay I got a full-time editor. I just hired another one. So like once you run it all through and then I actually take a paycheck, I'm not sure that I'm making much more at the end of the day than I was at my salary job, but I love what I get to do. And I get to wake up and just cover the Chiefs and troll other teams for a living.
Which is amazing because it's super easy because the Chiefs are awesome. You get to just
It
troll
does
the
help
other
that they're in the
teams.
midst of a dynasty.
Yeah.
It helps, but I didn't know. Like, they were great when I started the channel.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that when I started the channel, they were going to win back. Well, they lost the AFC Championship game to the Bengals a week after I started, but then they won back-to-back Super Bowls. I had no idea. So yeah, we're just riding the wave. It's been incredible.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how you said you did music before this.
Yeah.
So I actually knew that because, like I said, my brother's a huge fan, and he sent me a video. Like, this was like months and months ago, and like something about you doing music. I was like, oh man, my dude's talented over here. He's talented. So it's cool to see your page jump so far, because I've been a viewer from, I think, almost when you first started. Because like I said, my brother sent me a video of yours, and so I've just, honestly, I'll watch your videos every Friday. And I'd still do that. I'll just sit on the computer. So it's cool to see from, when you started to now. And it's,
So
I appreciate the kind words and the support. Thank you.
of course.
that's awesome. So how was that transition going into like the full-time YouTube space?
Sure. It came with some growing pains just because I used to wake up at 3:50 and then work for like 5 hours, right? And when you're waking up that early, you're covering the news basically from the day prior. So it was kind of day old news, but I was getting it out in the morning. So people would wake up and basically listen to all the news from the day prior that morning. But when you go full time, it's like, okay, well, I'm actually now trying to figure out how to cover day of news the day of. But when you're doing it all yourself, so you're researching, you're scripting, you're hunting everything down, you're then recording, you're then finding all the photos and all the stuff to put on top, you're then working on the title and thumbnail, all of it. So I was dropping videos at like midnight, 2 a.m. because I'm trying to break for dinner to see my family at least a little bit and then go back to it. So it was growing pains at first because I was just trying to figure out how to cover day of news the day of, and it really changed when I hired my editor. I hired my first editor, full-time guy, last April of 2023. Went through some growing pains there, but once he kind of caught on, that's when like I have my life back now. So I'm done every day around 6:30, and I have dinner with my family, and I see them, and I don't start till like 9:30, sometimes 10. So I make breakfast for the girls, get them off to school. I have my life back now, and it was a grind to get there. And I actually have like back issues and some other stuff going on because of sitting in a chair for like 15 plus hour days sometimes, that I'm trying to work through. But yeah, the transition was great. A lot of growing pains, and I'm still learning. I don't know everything. The channel has done well, but I just approach it with humility and just try to attack it and be great every day.
Amen there. That's one thing I love hearing about, like the editors, like getting those on board and everything. So outside of like the podcast, I do commercial videography and wedding stuff. And when we brought on our first editor, it was like, oh wow, like this is great. We don't have to stress about editing the full weddings. And like we started them as like just doing the organization. So just cutting anything out that's not usable. And then like slowly we've built them up to where now we have one guy that runs a whole editing team. I think it's funny. I don't even really know how many editors we have underneath him, like from day to day. But I think we have around like 6 to 7 that we like pull from.
Dang, that's a lot.
But like that's one thing.
Let's go.
Just being able to utilize those guys. So for people in like our space within video, how do you get your footage to your editors?
For a long time, we were using Frame.io just to upload, transfer everything, and we still use it. We mainly use it now for viewing edits and me leaving feedback. And now with the new hire, we're kind of building all of our systems and processes via Loom. If you're familiar with Loom, just a lot of video recordings. And my first editor, he's like my right hand guy. He's helped me with every aspect of YouTube, from thumbnails to titling, scripting, researching. So he'll kind of be that guy. So it was primarily Frame now is just to review stuff, because we now have an NAS, network attached storage. I've got one here. It's a Synology, and then he's got one in Minnesota. He's completely remote. So we just kind of transfer all of our footage to the NAS. And what's great about that is we're still working through it. But now with the NAS, if he's got to get off work or he's sick or doing this, doing that, I can then get into his project that he's been editing and finish. So that's been, it's been a lot of growing pains with it, to be honest with you. Like gotten pissed off at the thing a couple times and like, I want to send this back, but I can't. But we've persevered, and it's really great. The NAS has been awesome.
Yeah. So I have a Synology myself. I love it. But I didn't realize to get the full benefit, somebody else has to have, like, there has to be another one. Because I used to think, okay, cool, I get this Synology. It's going to be treated like Google Drive. Like, I'll be able to allow people in. And then I'm realizing, because some of our editors are overseas, that there's that throttle limit. And I'm just like, oh, like, it's better to go through Google Drive. But yeah, no, it's cool to hear that. Like, having the link Synologies works a lot better. It's something we might definitely have to try.
See, and I know nothing about that. That's what I just rely on you to teach me that stuff.
Yeah. No, it was cool, like, taking that first step into even just getting cloud storage like that and knowing, okay, hey, we have, like, our own essential Google Drive that's more private. And then you said you use Loom. Are you recording your videos through Loom, or is that kind of like your feedback?
So Loom is just where we've documented like every single step of our process on how we go about running the YouTube channel. And it's just a way we can store and organize it in folders and link it to people. No, I use Ecamm Live Pro. Like right now I'm on Ecamm, which is cool because like I can switch angles. What up? I can switch angles. I got other stuff I can do there. I could screen share. That's what I use for my streaming. And then I just record when I actually make videos. I just record on the SD card. I have two Sony A7S IIIs and record on there, and we color grade it and all that stuff. I film in S-Log, and I'm a former videographer, so a lot of YouTubers like they don't have that the years of experience that I had, and so you can call it an unfair advantage, whatever you want to call it. I am blessed to be able to like through the years learn a bunch of skills that basically directly apply to YouTube now. But yeah, Loom's just for recording processes. Yeah, and then that's about it. Yeah, Loom.
That's what. Yeah, we did all of our SOPs on, like, to do the color grade training and everything for the wedding side. So it's cool too because not a lot of people know about Loom. It's really slept on in my opinion. Just for like quick screen recordings, I used to always think using like a Streamlabs or an OBS. I'm like, cool, I can screen record this way, but do you pay for the AI of Loom?
Yeah, I think it let me sample it, and then it created SOPs for me in real time for a video that I made. It was like 30 minutes long, and in real time, it did everything for me, chapter markers. I was like, yep, I'm paying for this. Yeah. So we pay for it. It's freaking great.
Dude, I love it. And then there's another, well, I guess you're not really like on the podcast side, but like the Autopod software is another really good one that we use. And then for clips, we use like Opus, or what was the other one I was using for a while?
Oh, before Opus?
Yeah, I forgot. But there's a handful of like clip makers that we use for like the longer form content to like compress it down rather than having to add captions and whatnot yourself. So
I think it's cool that Submagic. I think it's cool that now you can utilize all these because back a couple of years ago it would take hours and hours to clip out all this stuff, and now we kind of can put it through a system, and it definitely saves a lot of time and energy.
I'll have to look into that. I've stayed away from AI basically just because I'm like I don't understand it. Yeah, I came from the world of doing it myself, and now my editor does it. But I might need to look into some AI stuff.
Yeah. So Opus, for instance, like once we get done with this episode, we get it edited. I'll upload it through there, and it will go through and pull clips that it thinks has a higher like virality score. Sometimes it's iffy, sometimes it's not. And then other times it's like, okay, it didn't even pull this clip that I wanted, but it'll generate typically 30 clips. And so we can go through and it's already captioned everything. Sometimes you got to reframe it a little bit, but yeah, I would definitely suggest for like your longer videos, if you just want to get mass content from it. I mean, doing daily uploads, I don't think it really would make sense to get 30 clips from one video because you can't really post them quick enough. But yeah, no, I'd definitely say like bend into that AI right there.
I'll just have to give it a try and just run like a live stream through it and another long form video and just like see what it does. Because if it does some cool stuff, I'm down.
Yeah, yeah. Because if it can pull a couple different pieces of content that's usable, I'd go for it. Speaking of like the short form aspect of that, how is
Yeah.
posting on Instagram and everything like? How has that translated to YouTube pretty well?
Yeah. So basically, long story short about short form content, I had a buddy in the YouTube space. He runs a Call of Duty channel, about 300 and something thousand subs. He looked at my channel. At the time, I had like 25,000. He was like, hey, man, this is like really good stuff. He's like, you need to consider making short form content. It'll blow your channel up. And I was like, I never really thought about making short form content. I don't know why. And then at the time on YouTube, they didn't have like, now you can go and you can click videos, shorts, live. Like it's all separate. But back then, it was all just under videos. And I didn't want to do shorts because I felt like it made the video like feed look unorganized, and I'm kind of OCD. That was a stupid reason not to do it. So I just started doing it, like you said, making short form content. And most times I just make unique short form pieces of content. If you look at like Mr. Beast, you look at a lot of those guys out there that are really spearheading a lot of this. They're taking, like, if you're doing a podcast, a lot of times, you'll take short form clips from a long form, but I've been uniquely making short form content. It's different than my long form. So it's just completely different. A lot of listicles, unique facts and stats and stuff like that. But when I started doing that, I put them on YouTube. And then I literally, all I did was repurpose my YouTube shorts onto Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And that's basically all that I do still. So I've got about 34K on Facebook, 37 on Instagram, 110,000 on TikTok. And it's all just from repurposing YouTube shorts onto all the other platforms. And I did not expect that, to say the least.
That's awesome. That's the beauty of YouTube because, like you said, there are so many creators that are strictly just short creators, and like in my lane with doing commercials for companies and whatnot, like we see it a lot. But then, like being able to be versatile like that, like yourself, how you said you can do like the long form, but then still create the one-offs. Like to me, that's like those are two different thinking brains. Like you're trying to keep people for a longer period of time, and the next it's like you just want to get the hook and get the information out. What are some ways, like how do you come up with the news, or like how do you pick the stories, I guess I should ask?
Yeah, I mean, when you cover primarily one team and you're doing almost daily news, you're really just looking for anything that pops up.
Okay.
The off season's a little bit different than the season because like in the season, it's just there's so much. You could talk about their previous game, injuries, the next team that they play, how they're looking compared to other teams in the division and the conference and in the NFL as a whole. The off season, it's just like you're just looking to see what news drops. And when you only cover one team, you're not really too picky on what you're deciding to cover. It's more just how do you piece everything together in a way that's engaging and just keeps it going without the fluff? Because I just do like, a 8, 10, 12, 14-minute episode covering all the main news rather than like an hour-long podcast like a lot of the other Chiefs channels do. And there's nothing wrong with that because I feel like, sorry, my dog's like sniffing my foot. You freaking me out, dude. There's a lot of room for that. Like a lot of people within Chiefs Kingdom have great thoughts and they're very educated and they can talk like that. And I'll do a live stream, like a Q&A hangout, but it's not really a podcast. So I'm just doing like an 8 to 12 minute show, piece it all together. Sometimes for the short form content, I will take like a subject that is talked about. Let's say the Chiefs signed Hollywood Brown. He's the designated to be most likely wide receiver 1 of the season for the Chiefs. Well, you put that in the long form video and you can break it down into more stats, his career stats and stuff like that, how the trade went about, his contract, all that. Well, for a short, I'll just take that paragraph that I've already typed and just shorten it to a minute, cut out all the fluff, give you the main stuff, add the hook at the beginning, and then kind of go from there. It is two different mindsets. You could cut it down from the long form, but I feel like for me, making it specifically for short form, it just helps cater to those who are looking for short form content. I just try to crush it in all three aspects of the game on YouTube: short form, long form, and live streams. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best, but I am trying my best in all three facets.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, so when it comes to short form, which platform other than YouTube is, I would say, like your favorite?
Man, that's a good question because I kind of just post them on there and then leave.
Yeah.
It's so interesting though. Each of these platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, they all have their own algorithm, and they'll like one. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go viral. Well, it sometimes doesn't hit on YouTube, but then on like Instagram, it'll do like 1 million, but on Facebook, it'll do 2,000, and on TikTok, it'll do 50K. And I'm like, I do not understand this at all. So it's very interesting to make these pieces of content and see kind of what audience likes these pieces of content the most on that particular social media platform. So I don't know that I have a favorite. I think maybe if I had to choose one, probably Instagram. I just appreciate the platform as a whole there, for following Chiefs players, looking at stories, how you can interact with fans. TikTok, I'm like never in there. I just drop it and get out of there. I only made a TikTok because someone was like, hey, you're already dropping YouTube shorts on Facebook and Instagram. You should make a TikTok. And I was like, I feel like I'm too old for TikTok, but I made one. So
Yeah, well,
probably
your
Instagram.
TikTok, your TikTok performs really well from what I've seen. So, I mean, your short form content is killer regardless. So when it comes to like all of those platforms, obviously you have a monetary value on YouTube. Do you monetize any of the other platforms? Are they making money too, or is it really just YouTube?
Yeah, it's mainly just YouTube. When it comes to short form stuff, even doing millions of views, I haven't really found a tangible way to monetize it. Even on YouTube, like what I make monthly on shorts, and they're doing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. It's so small in comparison to the long form money that you make from Google AdSense. So on all the other platforms, I am monetized on. Actually, I don't know how. I just got monetized on Facebook, and I don't know what took so long. I tried to apply, wasn't eligible, and I've been doing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views on there. So I don't really understand that, but just got monetized there. So we'll see about Facebook. Instagram, make a couple $100 here or there. And then TikTok, they now basically don't pay you on TikTok unless you're making videos longer than a minute. And I do not care to make videos longer than a minute because I don't want to tweak a YouTube short just for TikTok. So I make $0 on TikTok with 110,000 followers on there. $0.
Crazy.
That kind of puts into perspective like some of the TikTok creators. I guess if you're not making videos longer than 60 seconds, you're probably not making any money. Especially with you, you have over 100K. So that's interesting.
There's ways like there's stuff you could do on TikTok like that I could probably take advantage of to make money. They have like sponsored deals you could apply for, and there's stuff I could do, but since what I mainly make my money on is like the long form news updates on YouTube, I just put all my effort into that. And so I'm sure I'm leaving meat on the bone there on all these social medias. So that's not a diss to any of them. I'm sure there's better ways to make money. And I know some TikTok influencers, like they eat pretty good, but I am not one of them from TikTok.
Have you ever thought about kind of like digging deeper into that, or are you just, like you said, you give all your energy to that YouTube, which I mean, it shows because your YouTube is amazing. Have you ever wanted to kind of dabble a little bit more into that?
So I do have another editor coming on staff next week, and we'll on-ramp him. And then I do want to try to do some more stuff on social media. Might look into it. When I just look at the future, though, of all these social media companies, I just have the most trust and faith in YouTube. Google owns YouTube. The number one search engine in the world is Google. The number two search engine in the world is YouTube. So I just look at longevity and where to like pour all my effort in. And I just see YouTube as the platform that's never going anywhere. Meanwhile, TikTok is lawsuit here, lawsuit there. Not even sure if you're going to be able to keep posting. I will explore it more, but I kind of threw all my eggs in the YouTube basket, for better or for worse.
Do you cross post your videos? So do you take like the long form YouTube and go long form on Facebook as well?
No, I basically, if they want to watch a long form video, they've got to watch it on YouTube. It's how I make money through AdSense. So sometimes I'll clip it down. I have a clips channel, so I have an HBTC clips channel on YouTube. Sometimes I'll take like a funny moment from a live stream and put it on there, or one subject of like a 12-minute video, maybe one subject's like 2 minutes, and I'll put it on there. Maybe it's something like I wanted a title and thumbnail around it. It was like the second option, but this other subject I thought would perform better. So I take that, post it on there. Sometimes I will put those short clips on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, it's super smart to like just funnel all that
Yeah.
traffic. Another platform, our guest last week, his name is Spencer. We were talking to him about it. Is Snapchat. He has a really big Snapchat following, and that's one thing. Like, I don't ever really like see sports news unless it's like on there. I mean, I don't really follow sports heavily, but have you looked into like getting a verified Snapchat page?
I have not even thought about it one time. I
heard
do
the
have a
monetary value
Snapchat.
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like a personal Snapchat. I never get on it. However,
Yeah.
I'm not the guy that's like closed-minded and like, no, this would never work. So I'm definitely open to the idea. And if it's something I think is attainable and that would like make sense for my niche to provide value for people on there, like I'm definitely not opposed to it by any means.
Yeah, because you look at like TMZ or I mean even like Bleacher Report, Sports Center, all of them, they all have like their Snapchat feeds, and all you would be doing is instead of just posting a regular story, you would just go to their. You can get it on the computer, and you can just upload your video like you're uploading it to TikTok, and you can do a thumbnail, everything, and it's just a whole like extra lane.
Yeah. And he said like the money there is better than TikTok for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never thought about it until we had the conversation with him last week. And I'm like, oh, dang. Okay, you're making that much money? Or you could potentially make that much money on Snapchat?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he said with him, like the main monetary value from that though is like he posts like up to 30 times a day. So what you're doing is you're just driving people to see those ads, and like if they're just clicking through, there's an ad, cool. They keep clicking through. Obviously, it's like YouTube. However many ads you can get somebody to watch, the more money you're gonna make. So it's definitely something I'd say like look into, just because it's another form of.
Yeah, I need to put that on the list as well as audio platforms. So a lot of people, they say, hey, I love your Chiefs podcast. It's not technically a podcast. It's just I just make YouTube videos and I don't put them anywhere on audio. It's just a whole nother space that I need to look into as well. It's on the docket. It's on the list. I would love to do a podcast and just like an exclusive one. It would go on YouTube, but then it would go all the audio platforms like Spotify. You guys are probably doing that. Spotify, Apple, all that. I don't do any of that, and so it's on the list too.
Yeah, podcasters.spotify.com. That's the easiest way to do it. It's cheap.
Okay.
And it'll create everything. And it was weird at first because I was like, okay, it's linked through Spotify. How's it going to Apple? And so it just sends like the RSS feed through. So I would highly suggest, uploading your videos there. Because you can even upload video to Spotify now. That's one thing that we do where, like this video here, you'll be able to watch it on Spotify. As well as,
Nice.
I mean, if you're in the car, it'll just obviously kick to the audio only. But, that's another good lane to do. Monetary-wise, I mean, it's not super crazy with it being Spotify. But in my eyes, I'd rather have it there than not.
I figure for audio, you probably need sponsors, I would guess.
Yeah.
That's another way I make money on YouTube too, is with sponsored ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was going to kind of lead into another question. I know we've talked about this before, but how did you come about the brand deals and kind of like the sponsored? Because like you said, that's the main part in, YouTube and in just another form to make money. When did you start kind of collaborating with different brands?
Yeah, at first I had like a couple random ones that would reach out to me once my YouTube channel hit like 20,000 views. But it really changed when Brandon Perna, he runs a YouTube channel, about 600K subs. That's Good Sports. Really good guy. Same niche. Well, covers NFL news. He's a Broncos fan. I'm a Chiefs fan. So I do have something over him, but he crushes me in every other aspect of YouTube. But he was like, hey, do you have a management company that helps you with sponsored ads? If not, I'm over here with this one. I've been here for a long time. It's Table Rock Management is the name of it. I could put you in touch with them. He didn't, he's not like, I don't get monetary kickback to refer you or anything, but if you want somebody to pitch you to brands, because he basically said, hey, you're doing a great job. I'd love to help you in any way that I can. I also have a blend of coffee through Brandon Perna as well. And that's like something I encourage creators is like get multiple streams here and there that you can, merch, coffee, a product, don't let the main thing no longer be the main thing, which for me is creating YouTube videos, but you get all these multiple streams, and the management company is definitely a nice one of them, especially during the season. During the off season, there's not a lot of brands interested. But once the season kicks up, they've pitched me to quite a bit, and it's been awesome. Underdog Fantasy is one for the season. And then any big brands you see YouTubers pitch, like I've kind of pitched or had in a video, Magic Spoon, all kinds of different random ones, but I will only take it on if I'm like, I believe in the product or I think it'll serve the audience in some way. I say no still, because it's not always about the money. You want to serve your audience too.
Yeah, no, and I think that's good for like just connecting to your audience too. Like if you're just out here, picking up every brand deal, your audience, the audience sees like genuine people. And I think that's why I've liked your channel so much. It's, you're super genuine. You love what you do. And like you said, the brands that you do represent, you're going to use them, as well. So, that just, I feel like brings in audience and allows them to keep coming to your page. But
I appreciate that. There's been brands that I have turned down that have like the money looked pretty good, but when you look into the product, it's like, well, I don't believe in it, or it doesn't serve my audience at all. So there's a fine line. Like I have employees, I've got bills to pay too, but you want to do your best to maintain integrity all throughout. And I get it. Like not everybody is going to like an ad that I promote. Like Bear Mattress has been my longest sponsor on the channel. They've been awesome. Not everybody needs a mattress. Not everybody really cares, but I believe in the brand and think it's a great product. So yeah, you got to pick your battles there.
Right. So going to like a more localized question to Kansas City. So you've blown up in the Chiefs, realm. Do you get do people see you out in public and are like, you're the How About Those Chiefs guy? Like how have you been noticed lately? Because I know like I said, your brand's really, really huge and Kansas City loves their Chiefs.
Yeah, so I just feel like the same guy. When I started this channel, I just live in my basement and make Chiefs news. But as the channel grows, because I do live in Kansas City, I think if I lived in basically any other city, I would never get recognized. I mean, because 98% of my fan base is Chiefs fans, they're Chiefs fans, but then who knows? It's a pretty big percentage that also lives in the Kansas City area. So to answer your question, yeah, it has happened. Like basically anytime I go out, probably 90% of the time I get recognized, but maybe just like by one or two people. So it's not like, it's not Mahomes or Travis Kelce walking around and they're getting flooded. It'll just be like, hey man, love your videos. Like I went just last week, I took my dog for a quick walk and there was guys working on an AC unit with the company just at a neighbor's house. And they were like, how about those Chiefs? So yeah, it definitely happens. It's always very encouraging. And it's cool because it's like, it could be a young kid. I was at Starbucks one time and this kid like 10 years old. Hey man, are you the How About Those Chiefs guy? I watch all your shorts. I was at a park with my girls. Weeks later, a lady in her 60s or 70s was like,
oh, wow.
She recognized me from my long form videos. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very humbled by it. And the beard can't escape me. So they see the bald head and they see the beard and they're like, hey, I recognize you from somewhere. My face are on the thumbnails. So it's like, you see it.
Yeah. So speaking of that kind of inspiring and all that, what would you tell somebody who wants to do what you do? Like what is a piece of advice you would give them if they're wanting to get into the YouTube space, kind of just all that?
Yeah, I always just say start today because the first bit of content that you make, it's probably not going to be that good. Let's just be honest. I mean, you go back to my channel, the first videos were not good at all. And that was even from me being a videographer, knowing how to edit. I didn't really fully know how to speak on camera, how to translate everything that I wanted to articulate in a way that made sense, but it came from reps. So you just, I waited till almost the end of the Chiefs 2021 NFL season to start making content, but I wanted to start at the beginning. lacked the confidence to do it. I just finally was like, look, if the Chiefs lose against the Bills tonight, the season's over. So I'm going to start now. Like, it didn't make sense to start then, not really. But then the 13-second game happened, and it like kind of popped off, and the channel got monetized in 10 days. And but if I didn't start that day, and I just said, I'll just start the next season, like, I wouldn't have left my job. You know, like, so my biggest advice to people that want to start making content, like, just start today. Pick something that intrigues you, you're passionate about. You can even adjust your niche along the way. You could start doing reactions to hip hop news or something random, and then figure it out along the way. Just start making content, learn how to, like, you do need to also invest time, like, learn how to edit, learn audio levels. Like, audio is big. Like, the videos, like, this is nice. Like, I got nice cameras, nice angles, but here's the thing. If I had no mic, it would sound like trash and it wouldn't matter. So audio is king. Start today and then sharpen your craft. Like, if you're an electrician, you go to school for it. You learn the ins and outs of how to wire a house. You don't just jump in there and be like, I'm going to wire a house. So with YouTube, there's all these little intricacies that you can learn, from concepting to thumbnails, titling, and that's a whole, we can talk about it, but that's a whole thing of itself. Just learn the craft, but start today and aim to get like 1% to 2% better every single video. If you can only do a video once a week because you work full time or you're in school, like, great, just start today.
I love that. That's definitely, you know, that's great advice. I mean, because I feel like a lot of people, they're just scared to start. So if you start today, you know, tomorrow, it, you know, might be a huge difference, and your whole life could change. Just like you know, you went from working a full-time job, and you said, you know, however many months you're able to, you know, quit and do what you love every single day. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just do what you love, and everything else will, like, fall into place.
So within, like, being, I guess a question I kind of had for Hannah even about you was, do you go out and do a bunch of, like, community events and stuff like that, since you are, like, I mean, a big influencer, I would say, within the Kansas City realm?
Really do that much. I don't really leave the house, to be honest with you. For better or for worse, like, I could do more. But then when you're covering news, it's like, well, then it's like, okay, I'm not dropping a video today. So it's just a balance of, it's just a balance. I think with the second editor, I will be freed up even more to do some stuff like that. I don't really get asked all that much, though. Like, the brand's growing and stuff, but, like, I don't really have a lot of people reaching out that are like, hey, do you want to come to this event or do this event? I'll go to an event here or there. Like, I went to, it's not a community event, but I went to, like, KC Beer Fest at Arrowhead last year and met a bunch of people. That was fun. But no, I pretty much I'm introverted, man. So I don't leave the house much unless, and that's the other caveat too, is I'm married with 2 kids. So if I'm not working, I really am trying to pour into my family. My parents, you know, I grew up in a broken home. My wife grew up in a broken home. So I'm trying to, every second that I can, I got a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. I like YouTube. At the end of the day, it's the job. It pays the bills. I love it. But if I spend all my focus doing that, running around, doing this, going there, and my kids are like, where's my dad? Like, it defeats the entire purpose of my life. So my life's to be there for the kids. And so we do go out and about, but it's typically with the family for the most part.
No, that's awesome, though. Like, just being, and that, we get into this space, like, to work for yourselves. And a lot of people don't understand, like, they always say that we want to do that. We want to work for ourselves. But, like, hearing that you have a balance with it is amazing, because so many people get lost within it that it seems like you go from working a 9-to-5 job, and then now it's almost like 24/7. I could only imagine too in, like, the news world. Like, say it's 8 o'clock at night, something happens, and you're like, do I go record the story right now, or do I let it wait? So I know it's cool hearing that, like, you have that balance built out.
Yeah.
To be fair, I will go record it.
Oh,
I've
100%.
seen,
You have to. You have
Like,
to.
but I've adapted some things. So, like, if it's breaking news, I'll just go live. I just make a thumbnail and a title, hit the live button, instant reaction, then I'm back upstairs in 15 minutes. Where if breaking news used to happen, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go script it, look up stats, look up this, and then take 3 hours. No, I'm just going to go live, 15 minutes, I'm back up with the fam. In the off season, I take Saturday, Sundays off, unless there's breaking news. during the season, I obviously work Sundays, but Saturday is family day. I don't work, and I spend all the day with my wife and kids. And that day is very, it's like almost. It's not sacred. That sounds sacrilegious, but it's very important to block that day out to be with my fam.
I love that you do that too, because I mean, I think me and you, we're kind of like, well, going, and that sucks. Like, I need to take one day. I mean, I don't have, I'm not married with kids, so I could, but yeah, it's just important to give yourself that time, especially in the social media world, because we just need to put down our phones, our computers, get unplugged for a little bit, and then spend time with the people you care about, and it's super important. And I feel like it keeps you inspired for that next day to where you can create the content. And I do want to say something about your like lives. I've enjoyed, because like I said, I watch majority of your videos. I like enjoy the live reactions from you a lot better than those scripted videos. And I think I don't know. I see you just like, because you get all pumped up in them, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, oh, this is happening. So I like those, and it's cool to hear that they take less time, because those are, I don't know, those are fun.
The more organic.
No,
content.
yeah, because I'll click. I sure will. Like I said, every Friday, because I'm sitting at a computer and I just click on it, because I'm a super Chiefs fan. Super Chiefs fan.
Yes.
So I'm gonna keep up to date with everything. I'm gonna watch your videos, and I click on those definitely on Fridays, and I'm like, oh shit. So you're definitely my Chiefs news. That's how I keep informed. So
I appreciate that. It means a lot. My goal of the channel is like, if I can just keep any Chiefs fan, whether they're a diehard or even maybe a bit more casual, if I can just keep them in the loop and in the know to what extent they want to be, like, that's a goal there. My daily videos, like my 8 to 12 minute videos, that's going to give you all the high level, main big picture stuff. I get into the weeds sometimes. The live streams, the Q&As, the longer vids, like, there's where we're sometimes going a little bit more into the weeds. But so one of my favorite forms of content on the channel is definitely like my live play-by-play reactions. I'll stream during the game and just basically like commentate the game, and that is fun. Very stressful, but fun.
Oh, and I bet, especially with how the Chiefs play, because I know me just watching the game, I'm stressed, and you're over here live in it, talking. I bet, it's the same. Do you ever go to the Chiefs games, like at the stadium? Do you like, what's your favorite? Going there, or would you rather like watch it at home?
Yeah, so it pretty much follows the same trend of how introverted I am. I've always, like, for the past, I don't know, 10-ish years, I try to go to like one game a year. I've been to several playoff games. They've lost them all, so I don't go to playoff games anymore. But every year, I try to go to one. I went to 2 in 2022. I didn't go to any last year, just with the back issues I was having. But I'll go to one this year, and I'll just kind of invite anybody to hang out if they're around, and just go and enjoy it as a fan. And then that's pretty much it. I'm pretty introverted. I would rather, like, even before YouTube, I would just watch it on my TV. I like the broadcast. I like to be able to focus. A lot of times I wouldn't even invite people over. I would just like watch it by myself. Now I watch it by myself and then just yell into a mic. Yeah. And it's basically the same thing I used to do. I used to just yell at the TV. Now I just yell into the mic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, I mean, I've never really seen one of your live streams, but I mean, I guess there's legalities behind it. Can you show the game, like, on your stream, or is it just focused on you?
Nah, it's just literally you're basically looking at this camera, and I've got like a lower third with a scoreboard. So it's got like the down and distance, how many timeouts, what quarter it is, what yard line they're at, and I have somebody over here on a stream deck. This big old stream deck here. You could probably see it on the wide. This big old stream deck. We've got it programmed with like all kinds of buttons, and they just fire up and hit all the appropriate animations. And yeah, so I can't show the game. My YouTube channel would probably get obliterated.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, just because I mean, there's been like mainly like UFC fights. I go to watching like live reaction. So I'm like, oh, cool. That's how I can watch a pay-per-view. And no.
Yeah, I make sure to put reaction in there, because it's not a live viewing, it's just me reacting. Yeah, no. And to some people, that's weird. To some people, it's weird, but I do get more comments. They're like, "Hey, I had to turn Tony Romo off, and I'm going to watch the game and listen to you, because I'm sick of hearing him," or whatever. I don't actually mind Tony Romo, but that was just an example.
There's another I can't remember his name. My brother would know that when he commentates the game, I literally sometimes will put it on mute because I'm like, you just hate the Chiefs, so let me turn on something else. So I'm gonna keep your YouTube in mind to turn you on instead of whoever this guy is, but I don't like him.
They're gonna get you called up to the big leagues to commentate the games, huh?
Nah, probably not. I mean, Mitch Holthus is the GOAT. We'll let Mitch
yeah.
Holthus continue carrying the torch, man. He's the real deal. And whenever he's done, they're probably going to bring somebody in that's gone up through the broadcast, journalist, credentialed, got the degree. Like, that's probably where they'll go. I'm just like the oddball that is in my basement. The socials did kind of blow up, but like, I'm not formally trained in any of this. I just try my best to have journalistic integrity and report accurate news. I mean, yeah, I'm not trained. I just try to figure it out as we go here.
YouTube school.
Yeah. You do a great job.
That's awesome. So when running like all your social media platforms, anything like that, have you tried utilizing like any like Hootsuite, Cloud Campaign, like social media management apps? If so, like what are your thoughts on that?
I actually don't. I just post natively to all the platforms.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're uploading reels, they all have their own like intricacies. And so on Instagram, you could pick a thumbnail one way. Then on Facebook, you have to do it a different way. On TikTok, it's even another way. So I just post them, I think mainly because it's video. I post them all natively. If I was doing more like photos and quote tweets and statuses that didn't involve media, I wouldn't be opposed to like Hootsuite or something like that. But since I mainly just repost my YouTube shorts, I just go directly to each app real quick, throw it up there, and then go about my day. But could probably have a better system, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the algorithm, the algorithm knows, like, they want you on that app and posting. So if I've noticed the secondary sites, we kind of noticed it when we tried it.
Yeah, Cloud
Right.
Campaign, for some reason, like, it doesn't get the instant reach. Even it was really funny was the TikTok native scheduler. There was a podcast that we did, and I had to go out of town for an extended period of time, so I knew I wouldn't be able to post on TikTok like as I normally would. So I scheduled them for, I think it was like 13 days, and I came back to check, and they all had like 2 or 3 views. And I was like, when we can post and within the first couple hours you get 400 or whatever. And then I deleted all of those and just started uploading them like just on the phone, and they already started doing a lot better. So I will pre-warn, don't use the TikTok one.
Yeah.
Like, it just baffled me because I was like, I could understand if I was using like a crazy third-party one, but I'm using their native one that they're trying to like push creators towards, and it's not benefiting at all. So, I just kind of pre-warn that if you ever think about doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing it then.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Please don't
do it.
Please
Don't try it. Because every app is different, and it's crazy. They're always changing, and you always kind of have to learn. I mean, even whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I mean, they're always updating it, trying to, figure out new ways. So you kind of have to be a full-time, if you want to be in the creator space and do it at a high level, you kind of have to make it your full-time job to keep up with all the stuff that's going on and the editing, filming. So people think it's easy to be a creator.
There's so much I could, even with a full-time editor, there's still so much more that I feel like I could do, but it's like, I'm just not going to work 12 to 15-hour days and do it all. I'm just going to spend time with the fam. But hopefully with this next editor we're hiring, I'll be able to feel a little bit more like I'm not leaving as much meat on the bone. And then we are starting another YouTube channel with that hire as well.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes. But there's always more you could do.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to ask next. Is there any, new plans that you can share for the future, kind of things that you're excited about, or something new coming along with your brand? Anything that, you can share? I know some things you can't because they're in the works, but anything new coming up?
Yeah, I just think the biggest stuff I'm doing is we're starting another YouTube channel just covering like NFL news. So I'm just kind of taking the formula of how I built the Chiefs channel, and we're going to replicate it for NFL news. I mean, that'll be in the works here soon. I got to get the editor up to speed, but we've got that. And then I have been doing some consulting, like YouTube consulting on the side for like it's more of like a 3 to 5 year plan, but I've been working with I'm in the beginning phases. I won't say the name yet because we're still working through it, but a big like sports media company I've been doing some consulting, and we're talking about doing it through the football season of helping them get off the ground on all things YouTube. And so that's something that I'm pretty passionate about because I'm like a nerd. In my free time, I study the algorithm. I study YouTube updates. I'm listening to interviews from Mr. Beast. Anybody that's killing it on YouTube, like I just soak it up like I'm a student because that's a way to continue your life. You're always a student. You never know enough. You never know it all. And the older I get, the more I realize how much I don't know. And so I'm always soaking it up. And I realize like through thousands of hours on YouTube and making all this stuff, like I do have some knowledge and the ability to help people in the YouTube space. So I have been doing that as well. Those are probably the two biggest things is the NFL channel, some consulting, but I want to keep the main thing. I don't want the Chiefs channel to slack. I want to cover my favorite team that I watched growing up in the midst of a dynasty as well as I possibly can. And so yeah, those are a couple things in the works. And that's it. Just continuing to crush the content as well as I can.
Love it.
Man, that's great. Well, we are coming up on time. I just want to say thank you for coming on and just like talking about all this because it is cool to like hear from like all these different like people doing different things. And I mean, you are our first like sports news person, and it was just cool to kind of hear about how you go about getting all the news and everything and how you do that process. So for anyone that's listening or viewing, where can they find you at?
Yeah, just search How About Those Chiefs and it should pop up on wherever. It's at HBT Chiefs on some of them, but How About Those Chiefs, it'll pop up. You'll see the bald head somewhere on there. So that's where I'm at. I'm mainly on YouTube, but I am pretty active on Twitter too, though. That's where I get a lot of my news. So Twitter, most active on there, really compared to all the others. And we didn't even talk about that in this interview, but Twitter it's in a weird spot. Like Elon is trying to change a bunch there, but it's still the number one place to get like real up-to-date news. And you do have to kind of be strategic on not just taking anything on there as like accurate. You got to kind of use your wisdom there and figure out who's saying it and maybe verify it if you can. But yeah, pretty much on Twitter and YouTube is where you'll find me for the most part.
Cool.
Awesome.
Hannah?
Hand got handles.
Perfect. Make sure you follow the podcast at Commerce Connects. So again, yeah, thank you for coming on, Cole.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.